A warm welcome to all our viewers. I'm your host Shivangi Mishra and you're watching another episode of South Asia Focus. Let's begin the show. India's capital markets are set for one of their biggest moments in recent years. The National Stock Exchange has filed its draft Red Herring Prospectus, or DRHP, paving the way for what could become India's largest ever IPO. But this isn't just about the size of the listing. It marks the culmination of a long journey through regulatory hurdles, governance reforms, and legal challenges, while testing the depth and maturity of India's capital markets. Our report. India's capital markets have emerged as one of the world's fastest growing, driven by rising retail participation, market-enabling regulation, and rapid digitization. The latest milestone comes from the National Stock Exchange, which has filed its draft Red Herring Prospectus with the Securities and Exchange Board of India, taking a decisive step towards its long-awaited initial public offering. The proposed issue, valued at about $3.5 billion, will be 100% offer for sale of nearly 148.9 million shares by existing investors, including State Bank of India, Canada Pension Plan Investment Board, Bank of Baroda, General Insurance Corporation of India, and New India Assurance. Expected to be India's largest ever IPO, the offering marks a significant milestone in the evolution of the country's financial markets.
When NSE came, it covered all the corners of the India, and a commoner could access the market, and that was the biggest advantage which NSE came. And we can say actually it's a sort of a democracy applied to the capital market. That's the importance of NSE, and it started with debt market, then equity, derivative, commodity, ETFs, gold receipt, so on, and it has really captured the heart of the investor. We say that we need to have asset classes, different asset classes for financial planning. I think NSE is the best example of that.
I think there are many key indicators of an event of this size and magnitude and in terms of the timing. The first and foremost, of course, India has had a couple of exchanges which are listed, but now we have something which is truly global in its size. With the expected market capitalization, I think this will be an issue size which will definitely invite a lot of global participation.
Since launching in 1994, the NSE has transformed India's securities market by replacing a fragmented network of regional exchanges with a nationwide electronic trading platform. Over the past 3 decades, it has grown into a diversified market infrastructure institution operating across equities, debt, derivatives, commodities, exchange-traded funds, clearing, market data, and technology services.
You take the last 5 years, average GDP growth in India is about 7%, 7.2% to be exact. There is no other economy growing at 7% or even 6.5%. And for a growing economy which is growing at this rate, and we know this, that the high growth rate is likely to sustain for an extended period of time. For such an economy, we need a very dynamic capital market. And the Indian capital market also is growing at an impressive rate.
Today, the NSE is India's largest stock exchange by trading activity and the primary venue for companies looking to access capital markets.
I think all stock exchanges everywhere in the world are known for driving investments, for creating wealth, for market capitalization, growth of economic growth of entrepreneurship. So it has multifaceted development. But when you come to a national stock exchange, it's a multiplier of all of these. So I think you look at the size of the investors also in India. We have over 200 million investors investing in Indian stock markets. So when you look at all these parameters, and with the SME and the IPO growth story that we are very much aware of about the National Stock Exchange, there is only upward bound sort of growth which is going to happen, and that's good for the country.
The listing will also mark an important governance milestone, bringing the NSE under the same disclosure, compliance, and shareholder accountability standards that apply to every listed company. Financially, the exchange enters the public markets from a position of strength. According to Jefferies, the NSE is among the world's most profitable exchanges, with normalized operating EBITDA margins remaining broadly stable at 76 to 77% between fiscal year 2024 and fiscal year 2026. The brokerage also notes that the exchange has consistently returned a large share of its earnings to shareholders, distributing nearly 3/4 to more than 4/5 of its profits as dividends over the period. Beyond the numbers, the IPO represents the public listing of an institution that sits at the heart of India's capital markets. As the exchange opens itself to public shareholders, the offering will be watched not just for its size, but for what it says about the maturity and continued evolution of India's financial markets. India is rapidly advancing its clean energy transition, turning barren land into hubs of sustainable growth. From the world's largest hybrid renewable energy park in Gujarat to community-led solar projects in Rajasthan, the country is generating clean power, creating jobs, and driving rural development. As India strengthens its renewable energy footprint, it is emerging as a global leader in the green energy revolution. Take a look. Rows of gleaming solar panels stretch to the horizon, while towering wind turbines harness the power of nature. This is the Khavda Solar Park in Gujarat, the world's largest hybrid renewable energy park. Spread across more than 208 square miles of barren land near the India-Pakistan border, the project is designed to generate nearly 30 gigawatts of clean electricity, enough to power around 18 million homes. More than a renewable energy project, Khavda stands as a powerful symbol of India's clean energy ambition and its journey towards a greener, more sustainable future.
आज की डेट में हमारे 538 स्क्वायर किलोमीटर की जो हमारे पास लैंड है, उसी के कारण हम 30,000 मेगावाट एक जगह लगा रहे हैं। तो मेरे हिसाब से ये एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण कदम है भारत को आगे बढ़ाने का, और मुझे लगता है कि इसके बाद और इसकी सक्सेस और सफलता के बाद ऐसे और भी पॉलिसी डिसीजन और इनिशिएटिव भारत सरकार और राज्य सरकारें लेंगी।
India's renewable energy revolution is creating new opportunities across rural landscapes. Young entrepreneurs and startups are transforming barren land into clean energy assets by developing solar power projects. One such entrepreneur is Mohit Yadav, who has established a solar project in Rajasthan, turning unused land into a source of clean energy, sustainable income, and rural empowerment.
हम ज़मीन रेंट पे लेते हैं। रेंट पे लेने के बाद में हम लोग इसको डेवलप करते हैं और उससे किसानों को, जिस किसान से हम ज़मीन लेते हैं, बंजर ज़मीन लेते हैं, उससे उनको फ़ायदा मिलता है। जो खेती में जो पैदा नहीं हो पाती, उससे ज़्यादा उनको किराया दे देते हैं, तो उससे किसानों को भी फ़ायदा है, हमें भी फ़ायदा है, और इसमें गवर्नमेंट को भी फ़ायदा है।
India's clean energy revolution is accelerating, driven by a new generation of renewable energy companies. From designing and developing to installing advanced solar projects, these firms are delivering sustainable energy solutions while helping businesses and industries transition towards a cleaner, greener future.
जहाँ पे ये कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग भी इंडिया में हो, लगे भी लोकल लेवल पे सोलर पूरा का पूरा, और यूज़ करने वाले भी लोकल हों। तो कहीं ना कहीं ये पूरा एक इकोसिस्टम तैयार किया जा रहा है, जहाँ इसका जो है वो ट्रांसमिशन लॉसेस बचें, डायरेक्ट बेनिफिट हो उन लोगों को जिनको ज़मीन से बहुत ज़्यादा फ़ायदा नहीं हो रहा था।
India is not only expanding its clean energy capacity, but also emerging as a global manufacturing powerhouse for renewable energy technologies. Backed by initiatives such as Make in India and the Production-Linked Incentive Scheme, domestic manufacturing of solar modules, solar cells, and key wind turbine components has gained remarkable momentum. With greater emphasis on local sourcing and indigenous production, India is strengthening its energy security while creating jobs, attracting investment, and reinforcing its position as a global leader in the transition to a cleaner, greener future.
घरेलू मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है और ये घरेलू मैन्युफैक्चरिंग अगर हम लोग जिस तरह से इसको फोकस कर रहे हैं और आज हम ग्लोबली कॉम्पीट भी कर रहे हैं और अच्छा एक इंटरनेशनल ग्रेड का प्रोडक्ट हम बना रहे हैं, वो बहुत नेसेसरी है। आज जिस तरह से जियोपॉलिटिकल टेंशन्स हो रही है तो रिन्यूएबल एक बड़ा उसमें महत्व प्राप्त करता है कि उसमें वो बढ़ोतरी होनी ही चाहिए।
As India accelerates its clean energy transition, projects like Khavda and community-led solar initiatives are transforming landscapes, empowering rural communities, and strengthening energy security, positioning the country as a key driver of the global green energy revolution. And now it's time for Asia This Week, bringing you the top stories shaping the continent.
The death toll from the powerful earthquake that struck southwestern Japan has risen to around 30, while rescue teams continue an intensive search for survivors trapped beneath the rubble of collapsed buildings. Emergency personnel are working tirelessly at several heavily damaged sites, including a shopping center, a paper mill, and residential neighborhoods in Kumamoto Prefecture on the island of Kyushu, where the 6.8 magnitude quake caused widespread destruction. Authorities said around 60 people have been injured, with many receiving treatment for injuries sustained during the strong tremor. Search and rescue operations remain underway as officials assess the full extent of the damage and fear the casualty count could rise further as teams reach more affected areas. Brazil and South Korea have agreed to accelerate negotiations on a potential trade agreement between Seoul and the Southern America trade bloc Mercosur, with Brazilian president announcing the move during a ceremony in Brasilia. The agreement reflects Brazil's broader strategy to expand its trade partnerships both independently and through Mercosur, which includes Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and his daughter, widely known as Zoo-ae, attended a concert marking the 73rd anniversary of the Korean War armistice. Footage showed Zoo-ae walking alongside Kim and seated beside him during the event, occupying a prominent position at the center of the ceremonial formations, further fueling speculation about her increasingly visible public role. Kim also took part in a commemorative military parade held to mark the armistice anniversary, state media reported.
Moving on. Pakistan's worsening security situation has come under renewed scrutiny after a deadly suicide attack claimed by the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, or TTP, killed 15 security personnel in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. The incident marks the latest in a string of increasingly coordinated attacks targeting the country's security forces, fueling concerns over Islamabad's counter-terrorism approach, the expanding reach of the TTP, and the fragile security conditions along the Afghanistan border. Our report.
Powerful suicide attack has dealt another major blow to Pakistan's security apparatus. An explosives-laden vehicle rammed into a joint military-police checkpoint in Tank district of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, killing 15 personnel, including 12 soldiers, 2 police officers, and 1 government official. According to Pakistan's military, heavily armed terrorists first attempted to storm the checkpost. After facing resistance, they detonated a vehicle-borne improvised explosive device against the outer perimeter, causing extensive destruction. Security forces later claimed to have killed 12 terrorists during the ensuing gun battle. The Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan or TTP quickly claimed responsibility, saying 4 suicide bombers took part in the assault.
This attack is actually identical to the attacks that the Afghanistan Taliban would carry out against the American forces from the years 2001 to 2021. There is absolutely no difference. What has happened? They commandeered a vehicle, filled it with explosives, and then 4 suicide bombers just drove it to the checkpost and they exploded themselves. What is new? The only thing that is new is that instead of taking place in Afghanistan, where the US forces are no longer there, it's taken place inside Pakistan against Pakistani forces.
The attack is not an isolated incident. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa has emerged as Pakistan's most volatile province, witnessing a steady rise in attacks on military convoys, police stations and border installations over the past several years. Districts including Tank, Bannu, North Waziristan, Lucky Marwat and Bajaur have repeatedly come under attack from insurgent groups operating in the region. Recent weeks have also seen attacks on police convoys and security installations, underscoring the persistent operational capability of terrorist groups in the province. Security analysts say the terrorists are increasingly using coordinated assaults involving suicide bombers, vehicle-borne explosives and heavily armed fighters, tactics designed to inflict maximum casualties while exposing vulnerabilities in Pakistan's security grid. At the center of Pakistan's security dilemma is the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. Formed in 2007, the TTP seeks to overthrow the Pakistani state and impose its interpretation of Islamic rule. Although organizationally distinct from Afghanistan's Taliban, the two groups share ideological roots and historical links. Since the collapse of the TTP ceasefire with Islamabad in late 2022, the group has steadily expanded the scale and frequency of attacks. Pakistan maintains that TTP fighters operate from sanctuaries inside Afghanistan, while Kabul repeatedly rejects those allegations, insisting that Pakistan's security challenges are an internal matter. The dispute has fueled repeated diplomatic tensions and even cross-border military strikes between the two neighbors. For Islamabad, the latest attack once again raises uncomfortable questions. Despite repeated military operations over the past decade, including Zarb-e-Azab and Rad-ul-Fazad, terrorist networks continue to demonstrate their ability to strike heavily guarded military installations. Critics argue that Pakistan's long-standing policy of distinguishing between good and bad militant groups has created enduring security challenges. They say decades of relying on terrorist proxies have weakened internal counter-terrorism efforts, allowing terrorist organizations to regroup and repeatedly target the Pakistani state itself.
As Hillary Clinton once told the Pakistanis that you cannot feed milk to snakes in your backyard and then expect that they will not bite you. This is exactly what is happening. Now, at the base of it is the kind of fundamentalism that Pakistan has been pushing among its citizens, especially after the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. And we can trace this back to 77 when General Zia took over, toppled Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, and certainly from 1979. This is the kind of poison that the Pakistanis have been feeding into their population, more so in a place like Khyber Pakhtunkhwa.
For Pakistan, the attack in Tank is more than another casualty figure. It reflects an insurgency that has adapted, regrouped, and continues to challenge state authority in some of the country's most sensitive border regions. As violence spreads across Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and attacks become increasingly coordinated, the latest strike reinforces concerns that Pakistan's internal security crisis remains far from under control and that the battle against militancy is entering yet another dangerous phase.
Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir has once again witnessed a surge in unrest, with simmering public anger over governance, economic hardship and alleged electoral irregularities spilling onto the streets. What began as a protest demanding political rights has now turned into one of the deadliest confrontations in recent months. Protesters accuse Pakistani security forces of opening fire on demonstrators during the Awami Haqooq Long March in Rawalakot. There's a report on the escalating crisis and the allegations emerging from the ground.
Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir has witnessed recurring protests over inflation, governance issues and demands for greater political rights, with activists repeatedly accusing authorities of suppressing dissent. The latest unrest erupted in Rawalakot, where tensions escalated after protesters associated with the Joint Awami Action Committee alleged that Pakistani security forces opened indiscriminate fire on demonstrators preparing to continue their march towards Muzaffarabad. According to eyewitnesses linked to the Awami Haqooq Long March, at least 14 people were killed and nearly 24 others injured during the violence.
इस वक्त हम जो है वो चिनार चौक पहुंच चुके हैं। हमारा काफिला आगे बढ़ रहा है डी चौक की तरफ और इंशाल्लाह आज रात को हम रावलाकोट शहर में क़याम करेंगे। आज भी जो पाकिस्तान से दहशतगर्द फोर्सेज आई हुई हैं उन्होंने हमारे निहत्थे नौजवानों पर जो है वो फायरिंग की और उसकी पैदाइश में हमारे 14 नौजवान उनमें बानी तहरीक उमर नज़ीर कश्मीरी का जो छोटा भाई उस्मान नज़ीर जो है वो भी शहीद हो गए हैं। एक खड़ी का हमारा दोस्त शहीद हुआ है, एक कोटली शहर का जो है वो हमारा दोस्त शहीद हुआ है, एक ततापानी का, एक भांडिया बासपुर का और एक यहाँ छोटा गला का एक साथी जो है वो शहीद हुआ है। हवेली का एक साथी हमारा शहीद हुआ है। तो 14 जो है वो शहादतें हुई हैं और 2 दर्जन के लगभग जो है 2 बलोच के हमारे दोस्त जो है वो शहीद हुए हैं और हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं।
The Joint Awami Action Committee had been spearheading the Awami Haqooq Long March, a protest campaign demanding political rights, economic relief and greater public accountability in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Protesters also alleged widespread electoral irregularities and rigging, accusing authorities of undermining the democratic process. The latest march towards Muzaffarabad had drawn participants from several districts, with demonstrators alleging excessive use of force by security personnel.
दोस्तों हालात बहुत ज़्यादा ख़राब हो चुके हैं। रावलाकोट में लाशें ही लाशें हैं, ज़ख्मी ही ज़ख्मी हैं। भाई खुदा रहा हमारा साथ दे, इस वक्त खुदा रहा हमारा साथ दे। मैं अभी अपनी जान बचा के सिर्फ इसलिए आया हूँ, मुझे कोई अपनी जान की परवाह नहीं रही है। इतने भाइयों को शहीद होते देख, इतने आप लोगों से हाथ जोड़ने के लिए आया हूँ। यार कोई हया कर लो, जितनी इंटरनेशनल मीडिया देख रही है प्लीज़ हमारा साथ दें। हम पूरा मन लोग गए हैं, बेशुमार लाशें, बेशुमार ज़ख्मी भाई उठा के हमारे कंधे थक गए हैं। एक भाई ने आके अपना ऐसे रुमाल भाई निचोड़ा तो उसके अंदर से जो चीज़ निकली ना वो कश्मीरियों का लहू था। भाई साहब कश्मीरियों का लहू था। ये हालात हैं यहाँ पे, खुद अपनी आंखों के सामने लोगों को मरते शहीद होते देख के मैं आया हूँ। बहुत हालात ख़राब हो चुके हैं।
The violence is likely to intensify scrutiny of Islamabad's handling of dissent in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. While protesters allege that peaceful demonstrations have been met with force instead of dialogue, the incident has further heightened tensions in the region and raised fresh concerns over the political situation and the conduct of authorities during the protests.
As voices demanding rights grow louder, Pakistan's response is facing increasing scrutiny. And with that, we come to the end of this week's episode. See you next week. Till then, goodbye and take care.